happiest moment of my day lately when I get to have my amazing oatmeal savory porridge thing. Oh my god, you guys. Breakfast is served with a bunch of water. Let's do this. That was fast. It's gone. And super fulfilling. Like about 3/4 of the way through it, I started to feel full because I was looking at the bowl and I was like, man, this is going to not be enough food. But I did actually start to feel full, which was awesome. I'm going to have a bunch of water now, and this will get me through till lunchtime. Feeling good. It's 10:30 in the morning. I had my breakfast. I'm getting a little hungry now already, but that's okay. I can wait. You can wait. I can wait until noon. Right now I'm going to do actually a little gardening. So I have these little babies here. I keep them inside clearly because Las Vegas is 7th circle of hell. 100 and stupid degrees outside. So I'm going to replant these two into some larger terracotta pots. These ones actually grew from seeds, and these ones I got at the store when I needed some basil. And it was a really cool kind of basil plant because it was one of these where you would maybe just like take the basil and use it for your recipe, but it actually had the roots attached still, which was cool. So I just planted it, and then look at what happened to them. Hold on, let me move so you can see it better. Look at all those roots. Like, these guys are going crazy. They're very, very happy. So I'm gonna plant these now into like a little bigger, like a bigger container, and we'll have basil. Do you want some basil too? Lunch is served. It's 11:30. I have to say I was going crazy a minute ago, super hungry. Problem was I was looking at all these websites, making a new blog post, and I was looking at all these awesome Nutritarian recipes, and I got so hungry I started craving. I ran in the kitchen. I was like, what am I gonna do at 11? And I was like, all right, forget it. I'll just make lunch. I'll have lunch early. So I end up making like a ton of food, which I don't know if I'll be able to get through this, but here's what I have. This comes from wanting to use up leftovers. So I was looking in the fridge. I made my big salad. This is some celery, romaine, arugula, and then there's some kale, and then there's a mad cat. Then I have this huge bowl of, the celery's in here, some beans, leftover beans, some walnuts, and then also some red cabbage, a super high antioxidant food that's actually very cheap and keeps in your fridge forever, so get some red cabbage. And there's the kale. So this, plus leftover, what was that called, tailgate chili, plus some of the salsa I had yesterday, plus some of my favorite salsa, plus some leftover rice. I realize this is way too much food. I also have this leftover dressing I made last week, which is a week old now. If you know me, you know I'm all about using old stuff if possible, so hopefully I don't get sick. This isn't the first time I've said this to a camera. I remember saying this before. So if I don't upload my video tomorrow, you know what happened. So I'm going to eat all this, see what happens. I know I'm going to be super stuffed, and I'm probably going to end up having a smoothie later for or banana ice cream for my dinner. Bye! Alright, I added in that dressing to my other mixture, and oh my god, this is ridiculously awesome. This is going to be the quote-unquote dressing for my salad. Final product. This is amazing. Way too much food. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm also going to let myself have some of those crackers from yesterday too, but I think I'll have them at the end of the salad because I don't know if I'll even be able to fit them after this salad. Alright, I did pretty good. I'm going to save the rest of this for later today if I want it, otherwise I'll have to throw it out. And then I'm having some of these seed crackers, and I'll probably have some seaweed after this. In this next clip, you will notice that there is an empty ice cream bowl behind me. I had the same ice cream and peanut butter and oatmeal and stuff like that as I had the day before for my sort of dinner, and I just forgot to get it. It was too good. Okay, working on my certification. Just got 4 classes left. This one is about incidental damage caused by fishing. This whole section here is about the environmental impact on food production. And we're talking about bycatch, which is, when you mean to catch certain fish, but the nets catch other fish that you didn't mean to catch. And this is something I wanted to share with you because when I became a nutritarian, and I would not call myself like 100% vegan or anything like that, but call myself a nutritarian. I originally became this because, nutrition, but then I used a lot of thoughts about veganism to help me sort of get through it in the beginning and keep it up. And so I would actually watch a lot of those sad videos. But as far as like fish and shrimp, I mean, I ate shrimp for a long, long time. And that was the one meat that I continued to eat on a regular basis. And even now, if I was going to choose a meat, it would probably be shrimp, but whatever. It could be scallops or it could be many other things. But I was always wondering, like, could you convince me, please, of why I shouldn't, like, really why I shouldn't eat fish? In this little section here, I'm just going to show you. It's interesting. It just really gives me a good background on it, and maybe you'll get something out of it too. So this is Dr. Bruce Monger, who's a marine guy, and listen to this.
In addition to just removing all the fish that we really like down to 10% of their original numbers, we also have problems with all the other creatures in the ocean that we don't actually go out and purposely fish for. And it's a pretty big problem. It's called bycatch. It's the unintentional catching of fish that we weren't really looking for.
There is a picture coming up right now of a couple of dead sharks among a pile of some dead fish. The sharks are a bit red and bloody, so if that's something that you're not interested in seeing, maybe skip this part. But this is the only picture that's kind of sort of graphic. It's not that, I mean, if you've seen a dead fish before, it's not that big of a deal. But just so you know, that's the only thing that you'll see in the next few minutes of my clips here.
Sharks are really hard hit in this regard. We throw big nets out to catch the fish that we want, and the sharks happen to be standing by in the wrong place at the wrong time and are caught up in these big swaths of fishing nets. Bottom trawling has to be one of the worst. We drag nets across the bottom with heavy weights that destroy the bottom, pull everything into a net. They draw this net up to the surface, and they throw out 70% of what's been dragged up. It's incredibly inefficient as far as marine life goes to destroy 70%, so you could grab those handful of 30% of animals that you were actually looking for your diet. Shrimp would be one, so don't eat shrimp that are, at least don't eat shrimp that are caught by this bottom dredging method. You can get farm shrimp that aren't bad if you so choose, but there's lots of fish I'll talk about later to avoid, but shrimp is a big one.
That one hit me pretty hard when he said that, because that was the one thing that I continue to eat, thinking, oh, it's not that bad, But this particular section is actually super, super interesting, because there's a lot of stuff that, like, you hear, like, little things here and there, but I tend to be more focused on the nutrition part of it, so I would definitely consider myself an expert at this point on that, because I'm constantly learning. I'm a total nutrition nerd. I love it. This stuff I've never, ever, like, taken the time to listen to anything or read anything, really. It's just not the part of the equation that I've ever been interested in, but it's very impactful, and I encourage you to look more into it if it is something that you might be interested in as well, because it is a huge problem, the environmental impacts of land and seafood. Well, this is impressive. I've now gone through 2 full pens from this class. Almost a full notebook full of notes. Wow, the next thing he said was that, when you think about deforestation and how it's really terrible when they clear cut some forest, and we all think that's terrible about the Amazon being wiped clean and stuff. He says that trawling for fish affects an area 150 times the size of the global area of forest that's clear cut each year. 150 times. So, you think about, you can actually see the trees gone in some areas or whatever because they were clear cut for wood or whatever, but in the ocean it's 150 times that problem.
So here's just a picture of the beautiful before bottom dredging scene, and just to give you some impact, I mean, everything is wiped clean, right? And remember, it's brought up, 30% is sort of scraped out, and 70% is dumped back in dead to sink back down to the bottom. So it's pretty horrific. Longline fishing, these are fisheries that go for tuna and swordfish. They bait hooks on these long fishing lines, 100 miles long sometimes, with 1,000 hooks hanging off that 100-mile string of line. and they're fishing for tuna primarily and swordfish. Well, they catch lots of other things. Seabirds, sea turtles will go after that bait. They're all baited hooks. And these lines are left for a day or two or three, and then they're pulled aboard. All these other things, all these other organisms that weren't intended to be caught, sharks, seabirds, and turtles, are there on the line dead, and they're thrown back overboard, wasted. Seabirds in particular, if you've ever been out at the coast and you've watched fishing boats come in, you see all these seabirds flying behind the fishing boats, hoping for a little treat in case they throw the entrails of a fish overboard or something like that. Well, these seabirds will fly around these long-line fishing boats because they have all this bait that's being put on the hooks. These bait go overboard. They float temporarily on the surface before they're sunk into the deeper part of the ocean. And while they're still floating, these seabirds will dive down thinking they've got this great fish floating on the surface. They'll be hooked. And, I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar operation. The boat is not going to stop the long line from going out just because of seabirds. So that line continues to sink and drags the seabird down underneath the water and drowns the seabird. 10% of all the albatross in the world, we're cutting 10% out every single year by this problem. So
that's too hard for me to think about. So don't worry, everything's okay. It's very, very sad. Makes me sad right now, but it's just something to know about. I think it's important to be informed of what's happening, and sorry if this type of video stuff isn't your bag, but it's all related. So hopefully some of you think that this is helpful and useful to know, and thank you so much for watching. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.